Now, tonight's big news, President Trump's team of white shoe attorneys, because they spilled mayonnaise on them, took their case to Michigan's Oversight Committee. Their mission unclear as of press time, but probably to look busy. Here's their star witness.
Let me tell you what I did by accident, okay? Sir, I wrote a written affidavit. Yes, it is 100% true. How many registered voters are on there? Do you even know the answer to that? Zero. There's zero. The poll book is completely off. I know what I saw.
Are you saying that they're filling in?
I know what I saw. Democrats like to ruin your lives. Take a look again. Take a look again.
That's not the case.
What did you guys do? Take it and do something crazy to it? And I signed something saying that if I'm wrong, I can go to prison. Okay. Did you?
That is pathetic, and this is from a guy who once tried to get out of a traffic ticket with a puppet attorney named Captain Lawman. The witness and Rudy Giuliani did hit it off, but the relationship hit the skids when the blood work showed she wasn't his cousin. Mehdi, obviously, you've been tithing 10% of your income to Trump's legal defense fund. Do you want your money back now?
Plenty of people do want their money back now, James. There's big donors saying, what is going on here? This entire attempt to overturn the election result has failed. It's embarrassing. It's beyond parody.
I think Trump is deploying a smart strategy here. He's putting people on camera who speak to his base to catastrophes, puking their gin-soaked omelets into their Uggs.
Yeah, just to keep pushing back on Mehdi here, this is a turning point for the Republican Party. For too long, they silenced women. Now we're hearing from a brave woman with a strong voice and strong voices in her head.
Well, Giuliani did his best to lock down Michigan without getting sidetracked by any enchanting teenagers. Down in Georgia, pro-Trump attorneys Sidney Powell and Lynn Wood rolled out their hay-filled train car to speak at a so-called Stop the Steal rally.
I think I would encourage all Georgians to make it known that you will not vote at all until your vote is secure.
We're not going to go vote on January 5th in another machine made by China. You're not going to fool Georgians again. If Kelly Loeffler wants your vote, if David Perdue wants your vote, they've got to earn it.
Now, the good news here is voters who stick to the Republican strategy in Georgia will be entitled to their new sticker reading, "I vomited all over my shoes." Mehdi, is the natural next step in this strategy to encourage Republicans to vote for the opponent to confuse these Chinese-made voting machines?
Indeed. I think you've hit the nail on the head, James, and that is probably where they're going to go next. I mean, if you did have a deep state agent planted inside the Republican Party, could you do a better job than a Sidney Powell or a Lynn Wood? These are Trump-supporting lawyers who, as you just heard, are telling Republicans in Georgia in these two crucial Senate races, come January, the entire Senate will be decided in these two races. And they're saying, don't vote for the Republican candidates because it's all rigged.
It's a great point. With the way that Trump supporters are actively working against the Republican Party here, it seems like the Democrats have every advantage to take over the Senate. They won't, but it's nice that it seems like that.
Well, I just got to jump in here. I, for one, want to say that voting does matter. You matter. You are not alone. Love is love.
Yikes! Now moving on, CDC Director Robert Redfield issued another dire warning to a citizenry that spent most of science class shoving cigarettes in their dissected frogs' mouth, saying he expects the next few months will be the most difficult in the public health history of this nation, even worse than World War II and Civil War I. Mehdi, when the CDC Director says the next few months will be the worst ever, isn't he forgetting about the months after that?
I mean, yes, in a sense, you're right. You know, right at the beginning, those of us in the news, I don't know if you guys consider yourselves in the news.
Oh, we do.
Oh, good to hear. We would stop and we would mark, it's now overtaken the death toll from Afghanistan. It's overtaken the death toll from World War I. We're heading into World War II death toll territory. I mean, how many more historical records have to be broken before people in this country take this seriously?
And I think what you're arguing for is that we should have some kind of catastrophic event where millions of people die, so we have a sufficient metaphor for what's happening with COVID.
Not quite what I'm arguing for,
we'll get the fact checkers on it.
I heard Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has invited 900 people to indoor holiday parties at Foggy Bottom, and in light of his rumored presidential ambitions, I think it shows great leadership. He knows he can better serve each and every American if there's less of them.
Now look, I have to jump in here. I want to apologize on behalf of my boy Gavin Newsom for partying at the French Laundry during a pandemic. I'll hash it out with him at our favorite VIP hangout, the Global Seed Vault in Svalbard, Norway.
Oh man, I'd love to see you locked in a vault, scratching at the door until your fingernails fall off. Help, James, help! I can't hear you.
I won't kink shame you for that, buddy.
I get it. You know what that sound means? Today's news has officially become so unbearably overwhelming we can't process more without mentally detaching from it. So let's lighten the mood with some smart whoops. Mehdi, are you ready for some smart whoops?
I have no idea what that is, but I'm ready.
All right, thank God, because we were going to do this segment anyway. Mail call. Looks like we got some marching orders from General Flynn. Remember him? He was the lovable scamp Trump pardoned for fibbing about rubbing elbows with a nation attempting a cyber coup of American democracy. And now he's calling for martial law. He tweeted out a petition reading, "You must be ready, Mr. President, to immediately declare a limited form of martial law and temporarily suspend the Constitution for the sole purpose of having the military oversee a national revote."
Whoopsie, whoopsie. Mikey Wakey suggested suspending the document that gives us our rights. That make me sad.
Mehdi, on a scale of smart to whoops, how smart whoopsie is this news?
It's pretty whoopsie, James. General Flynn took a QAnon oath in his backyard. QAnon being the crazy cult that says the deep state and the Democrats are trying to drink the blood of children. They're satanic.
For that very articulate answer, I'm giving you a smart whoopsie. Now moving on, remember this guy, Bill Clinton, back in the go-go 90s. He was the president, but he should be in jail. That's according to Doug Band, who worked as a body man and aide to old Slick Willie, aka the Pillsbury Predator, for nearly 2 decades. Despite Clinton's denials, in January 2003, according to Band, Clinton visited Epstein's, that's Jeffrey Epstein, private Caribbean island, Little St. James. I wonder what Bill Clinton would have to say about this. It'd probably go a little something like this. "I may have visited, but I never inhaled all those underage sex slaves." Here's old Billy all the way back in 3 months ago at the Democratic National Convention. And for all you trivia heads, get this, his chief of staff was just named Kamala Harris as chief of staff. And those are your smart whoops. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. Whoops. Before we go, a reminder to be safe this holiday season. If you are choosing to travel to see family members, try to be mindful of everyone you may have come in contact with so that you don't inadvertently spread the virus. I actually took a good hard look at my COVID pod to see our potential for spread, and what I found was pretty shocking. So here's what my COVID pod looks like. It's probably not too different from yours. As you can see, 2 people have their mouth and nose covered basically at all times. When the first person adds a mask, our risk of transmission is basically 0, but we still made a point of getting tested before we set out on our holiday travel.
That's very responsible, James. It's also a good idea to contact trace your pod to see who we all come in contact with. So as you can see, here's my COVID pod. Looks pretty good. But when I factor in my Pilates instructor, my husband's walking buddy, and all the people in my son's learning pod, it adds up to a lot of potential passing of the virus.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say the holidays are gonna look a little different this year, but with the right precautions in place, you can still make the season bright. Plus, a lot of airlines are doing their part by requiring you to wear a mask at all times.
That's right, you gotta play it safe this year so you can do it with Grammy next year. Mehdi, what sort of precautions have you been taking in your pod?
I basically don't have a pod, and I don't meet anyone, and I stay indoors.
So you do the human centipede alone. Well, I'm sure all the nurses and doctors are very grateful.